What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to give you guys my RuroKen, Kyoto Disturbance, and Hokkaido arc references. Alright guys, we're going to be talking about today the Hokkaido arc references that I noticed and the foreshadowing in Kyoto Disturbance, the second season of the RuroKen remake. Yes, guys, I've been enjoying it so far. As you guys know, there's only one more episode until the end of the season. Of course, we're probably going to get another season or another core where we're going to get the final battles with Jupongatana and, of course, Shishio. So like I said, I've enjoyed it, and I've laid out in another video why I am enjoying the RuroKen remake. Obviously, the manga, it's a more cohesive story adapted from the manga. Is it adapting everything? Not exactly 100%, but at the same time, they are adapting very important parts, including one-shot and side stories that help develop characters further, such as Sakabato's first strike, where we learn more about Kenshin and his Sakabato and the importance and the weight it holds on him, you know, kind of how difficult it is for him to hold the Sakabato when he's using it. We learn a lot more about his character. So I do appreciate them going further and developing Kenshin even more. Okay, let's get to the Hokkaido arc references. The first one, episode 29. Episode 29 is to Kyoto, and this is where Kenshin faces off with Sojiro Seita, and he gets his Sakabato broken. Right, a really good episode. We even get a scene where Sojiro dashes off and uses Shikuchi. It's a new scene, really cool. Later on, when Kenshin and Saito kind of say their goodbyes, we get a scene where Saito and Eiji are by themselves. Eiji is kind of near a tree, and Saito is there, and he calls him Saito Sensei. This is very important because in Hokkaido, later on, Eiji, when he talks about Saito, he always refers to him as Saito Sensei. In fact, when you see him talk about Kenshin, he'll say Kenshin-san, and sometimes he'll say Sen, and he kind of stops himself. And this is kind of the way he refers to Saito. So this is interesting. It is definitely from Hokkaido. It is from chapter 8 in Hokkaido, where he does that. You can see the image here, so take a look. All right, so as you can see, he calls him Saito Sensei. You can see on the other one where he's literally talking to Kenshin and he's like, I want to destroy these enemies with my own two hands. I want to be just like you, Himura-san, and Saito Sensei. So Saito Sensei is someone he looks up to, is kind of a mentor for him. He becomes a cop. This is another thing. He becomes a cop just like Saito. However, not just like Saito, but his older brother. He becomes a cop like his older brother, which was a spy for Saito, right? But going further, there's another scene where at the very end, we see his older brother's grave. And at the foot of his grave, you know, it shows a cigarette, which is Saito, and then it shows a sword stabbed into the ground, which represents the blade his brother used to protect Eiji. And remember, Kenshin stopped him from using it to kill Senkaku. So this, to me, is kind of foreshadowing as well, because we see later on in Hokkaido that they kind of adopt Eiji into Saito's family, or at least Tokio's family, his wife's family. So they are kind of like family, and Saito is like his father figure. So for them to do that is showing respect to the older brother, but he's like, I'm going to take care of him now. That's kind of the foreshadowing I see. But anyway, I wanted to point that out. That's very interesting. I love the added scene. Really neat. Okay, the next episode, we see Anji, and he is using his blade to kind of use his Futai no Kiwami. And while he's doing it, Sano is in the woods and he realizes it. He's like, whoa, what the heck, right? And then he stumbles upon him using the blade. Well, when we look at him using the blade, you'll notice the sword is different from what we saw in the original manga. Yes, the design is different. It is the design from Kanzenban, which actually is adapted into the Hokkaido arc. So this is very interesting because later, I actually have it here. Later, Anji actually uses, it's in, I believe, chapter 50. He uses this blade. This is volume 9, by the way, of Hokkaido arc. And he uses this blade and this Vajra. You'll notice there's 3 prongs here. And this represents a thunderbolt. That's what it literally means, Vajra. But this is a very symbolic thing for Buddhists. And it also is something related to Akalanatha. So when you see in the original manga where Anji is fighting Sano in the battle that's upcoming, we see this huge statue of Akala, and it shows him with a Vajra blade in his hand, in the statue. And that is the blade that he's using, but it is shown in Hokkaido. All right, so as you can see, the design is different, right? Like, that is very interesting. If you didn't read Hokkaido, you would never know. If you read Kanzenban, maybe, the Japanese version, because that design is in that volume. But yeah, really cool. Anyway, let's go to the next one. The next one is episode 40. Episode 40 shows kind of a gathering of Jupongatana. And this is where Kamatari shows up at Shishio's hideout and is kind of confronted by Yumi. And one thing that Kamatari is wondering is, where's Cho? Cho is apprehended and in police custody. And so he is like, oh, that's too bad. I really wanted to team up with him. I feel like I could really team up and we would be a good fit. Like, we could fight together. And this is interesting. This is foreshadowing for Hokkaido arc, where they not only return and have a reunion together, but they fight together the enemy Kinkaku Heki. So I'm going to show you that. That is current in the manga right now. But this chapter, I believe, is 52 or no, 53, 54. I think it's 53, this one. No, 54. It's 54. You can see Cho and Kamatari right here. They're both fighting at, you know, the enemy. So yeah, they end up being a duo. So yeah, pretty cool. Okay, the next one. Episode 41. We get this scene in the Great Kyoto Fire where the Shishio faction is trying to set fires. We see the government forces trying to stop them. And some of them have a lantern. And the lantern itself has a crest of Meiji government. But what's interesting is that crest is also something used in the Otaro mission in Hokkaido. Okay, the next one. This one has 2 Hokkaido arc references. Now, one of them is definitely Hokkaido arc. The other one, you could argue, is not Hokkaido. But when you think about it, when I show you why I think so, you kind of see what I mean. Okay, so The first one we have is Cho's scene on the rooftops of the police station. It shows him lounging around, lying down on the rooftops of the police station. And right as Sano arrives at the police station, you see him saying, "Yo, welcome back. Yo, welcome back." And then of course they get into an argument, you know, the bird head and the rooster head. But anyway, they both or the broom head and the rooster and the broom head. But anyway, that is a reference to Hokkaido, where Kamatari and Cho are lounging around in Kenshin's house in Hakodate. While Kenshin is off on a mission in Otaru, him and Kamatari kind of sneak into their house and they're lounging around and they're basically like, "Yo, welcome home." So like, I thought that was really cool that they showed that. Like, they're showing that it's kind of foreshadowing for what's going to happen. First, we got Kamatari saying, "Okay, Cho, I'd love to, you know, team up with you." And then you got Cho actually welcoming back the trio that went off on the mission, you know, for Great Kyoto Fire. And then, of course, we get the reference to Hokkaido. I thought that was really cool. Now the last one is also the latest chapter, and that one is at the police station. At the police station, it's actually in another episode as well, where Arato is mentioning the Seinan War, the Southwest War. You know, so he's talking about how he's trying to say something about war and kind of relate to Saito, and Saito says, "I don't remember." He says Saito. He doesn't say Fujita. So like, it kind of you know, he's like, "I don't know you personally, so I don't remember you ever fighting alongside me." But anyways, it shows a poem of Saigo Takamori. And this is important because this is a historical person, right? It's the final last samurai who died. Obviously, he's honored as a very honorable samurai. Died, you know, with honor and living the way he believed was right. And so anyways, it shows this in the latest chapter where Saito returns to the police station right as he gets the challenge letter from Shishio's group from the Jupongatana. It shows the same poem written on the police station from Saigo Takamori. What I found interesting about this poem, like I said, it's from Saigo Takamori, is that another Shinsengumi, Nagakura Shinpachi, also talks about, now they didn't mention it's Saigo Takamori, but anyways, he does mention Saigo Takamori in chapter 19. You can see this is Saigo Takamori right here, the last samurai, but he mentions him here. So the fact that they showed that poem up there, that he's a, you know, an honorable samurai, someone that is really remembered well as a samurai, it shows it in Hokkaido. It reminded me of that, so I would say it is kind of a Hokkaido arc reference. It's not exact, but the fact that they're both something, it showed the actual drawing of Saigo Takamori, and then of course it showed his poem in the anime. So I thought that was pretty neat. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Now, when it comes to these attention to details, it doesn't just happen in the anime as well. I do like how they're adapting these things, showing it shows intent that they want to animate Hokkaido eventually. I do feel like the next season is going to include some other things as well. For example, Anji's special technique is called Rikushin, and Rikushin is the shockwave technique he uses with Futai no Kiwami, and this shockwave technique is used quite often in Hokkaido. It's used a few times, not quite often, but it's used a few times. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. they may call it Rikushin in the next season. They may call it Rikushin because it actually has a name. Now, in the original manga, it's called Tawate by Saito, but it's not actually the real technique name. So Rikushin might be the actual thing. So anyways, keep a lookout for that. I also think that once the Juppongatana are apprehended, and we might actually hear Kabato prison, we might actually hear the name of the prison. So that could be another Hokkaido arc reference. So I do feel there are going to be some more. It's really interesting that they're including them. But anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, the manga also has attention to detail as well. The author does love doing that. I've seen several. I just, when I read a chapter of not only Hokkaido, but the original, I kind of just look to see if there's any special details. For example, in the last manga chapter of the original, we get Yaiko and Yutaro's nameplate on the dojo, and it says assistant masters. But if you don't know that, by looking up there and seeing the kanji, there's no way you would know. Because later on in Hokkaido, we see Yaiko is pretty much an instructor, and Yutaro returns to the dojo. So their intent is to both become instructors. So yeah, it goes attention to detail, like I said. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, well, hopefully we get more of Kyoto Disturbance. We're going to get a third core probably for the Kyoto Disturbance. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next one.